So I want to just start by telling you a couple of things that we've got going on this month. This month, the theme is inquiry. And inquiry I kind of think of as the doing part of spirituality that gives us an opportunity to find out how we are wired, to explore what it is that we have adopted as a belief, and kind of explore that. And we've got 4 different ways that we're going to do it. Today is going to be kind of a somatic experience where we're going to be looking at some of our emotions energetically. And we're going to interact with these energies and ask them, why are you showing up? If anger is showing up, or anxiousness, or anxiety, or bliss, or happiness, what is going on the inside of us that is causing that to happen? And by exploring that, can we find out a little bit more about how we are wired and tap into that? So that's today. Next week, Betsy Oliver is going to lead us in a shamanic breath work exercise that she sometimes does at the beginning of the ecstatic dance ceremonies that people put on around town. And it's not exactly chakra based, but it kind of goes with that energy where we just are introducing an idea into our body and exploring how our body is reacting to that. Then on September the 20th, which is a Saturday, day before the equinox, we're having our second Adam-sponsored ecstatic dance. I've got a DJ who is down right now at Sacred Acre. He reached out to Dawn. Dawn said, you sound like you would vibe with Bobby, so she put us in contact, and we very definitely did. So ecstatic dance, if you've never done it, is also really kind of inquiry. You're developing a relationship with the beat and the music. And ecstatic dance, everybody does it a little bit differently. But people who facilitate these often give us 4 kind of cues to be thinking about while we're doing it. They'll set it up as an exploratory experience and say, this is not about networking. It's not about performing. It's not about pickup. This is not a social interaction kind of an event. This is an opportunity to go within and explore your relationship with the music. And when we did it a couple of years ago after COVID at the old Adams Center, we had 46 people in that little space, if you can remember that. We were shoulder to shoulder.
More than that. I think it was like 6. It was a lot.
It was a lot.
The windows were steaming.
Yeah, and like if you went to the bathroom and then came back into the studio, as you were walking down the hallway, it was getting warmer as you were going in there. And one of the things that the DJ told us was, if you get tired, if you need to sit down and take a rest, by all means do that, because we're dancing for a couple of hours. So, you get worn out. But he said, accept the invitation to stay in the energy. Just if you need to take a break, sit down, lay down, meditate, just listen to the music, but stay in this energy, because it's the energy that is transformative. And I kind of got hooked on that one night. I've done it maybe 7 or 8 times since then, every time that I'm free when it's available. And the 3rd time I did it, it was like I could feel the music just tapping me on the shoulder and saying, I'm over here, come dance with me. And from that moment on, this whole thing took on a very altered state experience for me. The experience of it's like a really cool drug trip. Psychedelic, altered state of consciousness to experience life just a little bit differently. And we're going to explore some of that today. Then the next day, 2 weeks from today, Tristan is going to lead us in a thing that he also teaches called authentic language. And it's an opportunity to use the energy of the language that we are speaking also as a tool for inquiry. So this month is kind of all about exploration. I do want to mention, and I'm actually going to just ask Lance to do it. Lance has just launched his I Am University. Is it okay to talk about this? I did not clear this with you before. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. He's doing I Am University. He does something frequently called the Tribe of I Am Dinners, which unfortunately my schedule, I've missed the last 3 or 4, and I absolutely love them. And one of the cool things about it is we are launching our own social media network. It'll be up and running in the next week or 2. Lance is doing the same thing with I Am University. And the cool thing is we both independently had this idea and looked for a vehicle to do it. And independently, we came up with the same system, infrastructure to build this community. It's called Mighty Networks. So when Lance, if you join I Am University, I've joined, when you see it, it'll look very much like the Atom social media, and we're going to be able to cross-promote. So would you share a little bit about I Am University and,
Sure.
and what people can expect if they join? And
Absolutely. So I Am University, the tagline is Quantum Renaissance in Humanities for personal growth, community building, and business development. And the motto is all our teacher and student here. So essentially it's an online learning community and platform. There will be a ton of courses, online events, workshops, seminars, with the encouragement to also take these events and groups out into the real world. So it will allow an individual to cultivate self-awareness on their own time as they go through these courses, but there's also threads and feeds and chats for every one of the groups and every one of the courses. So you always have the group interaction available there. So it's iamuniversity.net, and it's just getting off the ground now, so it's one of those.
It wasn't very expensive either. I got pretty reasonable.
It's at the most it is $40 a month for 1 year, and right now there's a 15% off discount for life because this is our first month. So it's like get in now and help us build. It's very community centered. So when you enter the space, if you might think, oh, I would love to see this or experience this, it's fluid and allows us to grow however we would like to do so. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Bobby.
you're welcome. Thank you, Lance. And so all of this is going to be coming. We are going to be having a board meeting here pretty soon. We have not picked the date yet, but I've been doing an informal survey with the board members. And I want to ask you guys the same questions. I'm asking them, what are we doing well right now? What are we doing okay at, but we could use a little bit more energy? What, if anything, are we missing? And what would you like to see us do, and what can you contribute to our doing it? And man, that's leading to so many questions. Ivan, who's not here today, he's very into Gnosticism. Talked to a guy today, Gabriel Blue, who's interested in exploring non-duality, which is kind of what Bud and I sort of subscribe to and kind of follow. He's interested in classes like that. So there's just like a lot of interest and a lot of activity. So to begin today, I want to start with a meditation. This is a 10-minute meditation. It's recorded. I'm not going to be leading it. It's done by 2 musicians, Kailash Kokopelli and Darpan. And it's a spoken word piece. It's called Metamorphosis. And what I want to do to just kind of get it going is to read the dedication that they made when they debuted this record. So I'll just read it. This is what they shared. It'll be my voice. And then we'll go right into the music. And the introduction, the invocation will give you a good idea of where this is going. So this is Kailash and Darpan. Beloved friends, sacred souls gathered here in this moment, we offer you this gift, not merely as a song, but a living transmission of remembrance. Metamorphosis has come from a deep knowing that we each carry within every cell the blueprint for transformation, the sacred coding for humanity's next evolutionary leap. This piece came through at a time when the veils between the dimensions were particularly thin, and Gaia herself was calling out to her children to wake up, to feel compelled to put into words what many of us have been sensing in our bones, that something profound is stirring in the depths of our collective consciousness. As we prepare for this journey inward, we are not passive listeners, we are active participants in the great metamorphosis. Each transmission is shared with what the heart can truly receive. The field of transformation grows stronger each time we dive back in. So now we invite ourselves to release any need to understand with our minds alone. Let these words wash over us like a cosmic remembrance of awakening that our souls already know. Let us feel into the butterfly that lives within our own being, that aspect of ourselves ready to emerge from the chrysalis of limitations. Let us take this moment now to feel the connection to this circle, to this moment, to the earth beneath us. We are here today in this moment by divine appointment. Every challenge we have ever faced, every moment of seeking, every whisper that we've ever heard has led us to this threshold and the understanding that there must be more. The song is called Matara, Metamorphosis.
We stand at the threshold of a great dawning. Something deep within life is changing. Oh, 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 oh. An era is ending. Oh, 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 oh. And at the very core of creation, something new is being born. Oh, 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 oh. We are awakening from a long collective sleep. Oh, 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 oh. An in vitro dreaming deep within the womb of our Mother Earth. Oh, 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 oh. Now is the time of a great shifting of cosmic wheels. Oh, 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 oh. Which will result in the reformation of our Earth. Oh, 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 oh. And trigger a radical shift in consciousness. Oh, 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 oh. A galactic tidal wave of light is descending upon the Earth, activating the highest potential, raising the frequency. Reality is being reformed, redefined. The activation of new neural patterns will trigger new perceptions, new information, new impulses, and the recalibration of DNA. Open yourself to these high dimensional frequencies. Let go. Love each other in these coming times. Be kind to each other. Gather in community. Share yourself. Live your dream. Live your heart. Open yourself. Be prepared for the challenges to come. The dark times of chaos and upheaval. We will experience a dynamic recalibration of electromagnetic fields and Earth systems on a global scale. Stay present. Stay calm and centered. Try not to judge what is happening. Surrender to the process. Hold firm in the knowledge of what is being birthed. The process of birthing is an awesome undertaking, an arduous task, often fraught with intensity. Stay in the heart. Stay connected to beloved friends and family. Remember that this too shall pass, and is a necessary purification, a great purge of all that is not in resonance with what is being born in us. All will be redeemed and reformed in miraculous ways. Chaos will become peace, and sorrow will become joy. Trust. Trust with love. The butterfly is a marvelous demonstration of the power within trust and vulnerability. And in the miracle of metamorphosis. After all, what is a butterfly, if not the flowering of a caterpillar beyond its wildest dreams? Emerging from the womb of the chrysalis, the butterfly discards its restrictive silken shell to inherit a magical new world of flowers, breezes, and sunshine. A world of freedom and delight and the celebration of its divine nature. Spreading her wings for the first time, she has no idea whether she can fly. She simply opens her wings in perfect confidence and is effortlessly conveyed into the spiral dance of graceful flight. And all that then remains is the joyous participation in the divine ecstasy of creation. As you turn your light inward and witness your true nature, you become an empty mirror and go beyond beliefs or doctrines. Dissolving the veils, the formless takes form. Going or coming, we are in the right place. As the veils are lifted, we will perceive worlds of unimaginable beauty. Self-transforming astral worlds of light will shine down and interpenetrate the density of matter, making it translucent, less dense, and more permeable to our thoughts and feelings. Multidimensional reality and the interconnectedness of all things will be as clear as sunlight. And just as the light is not separate from the sun, and the wave is not separate from the ocean, so shall we realize our connection to the source and recognize ourselves in each other as one vast ocean of love and light. Let the divine recognize the divine. Lights will find other lights. And as the spark ignites within you, so it will ignite in others. In a majestic radiance of consciousness, and set the world alight in its magnificence. A new world without fear. Without war, without greed. In the safe custodianship of an awakened species. Manifesting peace with love, light, and celebration. May the Divine Mother bless all sentient beings as her children. May the Ascended Ones bless mankind. May religion be swept away by the revelation of what we are. May the children of the earth understand that this is to be a birthing place of a new humanity. The birthing of a new man, utterly discontinuous from the past. Released, transformed, metamorphosed into a multidimensional being, conscious.
So when you're ready, come on back. How was that? So in there, it was interesting having it in the bowl. Kind of got a little of the overtones. I imagine that we'll be hearing a lot of this evening. But if you had a chance to listen to the words and kind of let those flow over you, what he is suggesting in there, what they are suggesting in there, that we don't need to do anything to wake up and live our full potential other than just remembering that we are divine. And, when we think of the ancient teachings, that's something that is in a lot of traditions. If you look at the East, you've got Advaita Vedanta, which translates to not two, not dual, end of the Vedas, Vedanta, meaning the stories are over. Taoism is the same thing. Taoism is a whole philosophy, a book written 2,500 years ago that reads as easily and smoothly as it did, I imagine. Back then, it's like you don't need to edit it at all, and it's telling us the exact same thing, that we are divine beings having a human experience. A Jesuit priest by the name of Pierre Teilhard Desjardins was the guy who came up with that. A Jesuit priest, and what did the church do? Attacked him for heresy. The idea that he says, we are not human beings attempting to achieve some sort of enlightenment or awakening or realization. And the idea that there's something out there that we need to find or add is the reason that we stay lost in the illusion that we're actually spiritual beings having a human experience. And I've mentioned that in several of the talks. I remember one time I said, what do you guys think when you hear that? And somebody said, it's a bumper sticker, it's meaningless, it's a trope. And it can be. It can be one of those things that we just repeat like an affirmation and that means nothing to us. Or it can be a prescription for living. And on my own journey, I've shared in these talks, I meditated once for 66 and a half hours straight. I was trying to get to 72 and I didn't make it, I fell asleep. And through the delirium and the not sleeping, the not eating, I was drinking water and going to the bathroom. But other than that, I was pretty much on my cushion or laying on the floor, just trying to stay awake and not fall asleep and try to see what shows up for me next. That phrase hit me very, very deeply, and I really started to play around with that. And I want to invite you guys to do the same thing through an exercise that I'll lead you through in about 15 minutes. And this is asking the questions, exploring the question, what are our emotions telling us about? And I'd like you to just think about that for a second. If you're sitting here and all of a sudden you get a flash of anger or bliss or uncertainty or laughter or anything that just pops up, what is that telling us about? And if you ask that question to other people, if you see somebody that you can see they're different, they're unusually happy or they're unusually sad, they seem, and you just say, Ivan, man, you look like you're on the top of the world today. What's going on? And you don't need to answer that question. But if you ask that question, notice how people respond. They typically said, I'm doing great. And then almost always we point to something external as the reason for rationalizing why we feel that way. You know, just, I've had a wonderful day. The weather outside's unbelievable. My daughter was just here for 3 days, and I'm still high as a kite from that experience. It's something outside of us, or if we're feeling bad, it's because we got a letter from the IRS, or our boss is a jerk, or whatever the reason is. And I want you to just explore, what if that is a belief that we have been conditioned into? It's not real. And I'm not saying that that's true. To me, it looks like it is. I'm going to ask you guys to explore that as well. When you have your emotions and you're noticing what happens, see if it's telling you more about how you're doing on the inside versus your circumstances. And just ask that question. And here's a little thought experiment you can do. You can imagine that you have a regular commute. You might have to dive into your imagination if you've never been into a commute. But imagine you go to work at the same time every day on the same road, in the same car, listening to more or less the same music or podcasts or whatever you're listening to, surrounded by more or less the same people. And one day, somebody can cut you off, and you can be in that phase that Michael Beckwith describes when we are showing up as love. Somebody cuts us off and we're like, fellow traveler, you're so stressed. By all means, allow me to slow down and make it easier for you to merge. But 2 or 3 days later, same car, same road, surrounded by more or less the same people, that same thing that happens, we can have a very different reaction. So what's the difference? And I'm going to ask you to kind of begin to look at that over the course of the next couple of weeks. Check in with yourself and see how you are doing. And one of the things when I work with people is I recommend using the smartphone, setting a timer, and just have it go off every 37 minutes. And let that be a pattern interrupt to just say, how lost in the illusion am I? Am I present in this moment right now? Or am I off mentally time traveling to places far and wide? Not here now. And just check in. And through that, an interesting thing begins to happen. Your body starts to go, oh, we're noticing this now. We're noticing how we're doing this. And I've led over 250 clients through this exercise. And one thing that's common that they begin to notice is the voice of our gut begins to get louder and clearer and easier to hear. And has anybody ever had the experience? I've had it an embarrassing number of times when I went into something that my gut said, don't do it. But I wanted it so bad for whatever reason. Conditioning, I think, is most of the time that I ignored that signal, and it took a week or 2 weeks or a month to find out, should have listened, should have trusted my gut. And that's a lesson that we're still learning, but by doing this form of inquiry and interrupting the patterns that are unfolding in us all the time, we have the opportunity to see what messages our emotions are telling us. And I'll share one last story, and then I'll lead you on a little journey where you can experience it. After I did that meditation, that was 2017. Since then, I've been looking at the things that I believe. And I've been looking at, where did I get that belief? Why do I believe that? And of course, I'm a hypnotist, so I know the answer to that. Vast majority of it I got from 0 to 7 when I was a sponge and I was watching my parents and my teachers and my aunts and my uncles and my older brothers and just absorbing like a sponge. And I was participating in the human domestication process. And part of that process is learning to turn off our signals about what's going on. When little babies, if they suddenly get an urge to just scream or knock something off the thing, they do that. But parents have got to say, oh, you can't do that. Don't do that. That makes mommy sad. And all of a sudden, and that's the good parenting now, right? We don't criticize the person, we criticize the behavior. And that's supposed to be enlightened parenting, but we're still teaching that something that I do can make mommy sad or mad, make me into somebody who's bad. So we begin to learn to judge good versus evil, right versus wrong, holy versus divine versus evil. all of these little things that are our dualities. But what if our emotions are only telling us about how we are doing on the inside? What if our emotions are energy requesting motion, requesting our attention, requesting an exploration? So in a moment, I'm going to lead you through about a 12-minute exercise. And if you would like to participate in this exercise, I'm going to suggest that you think of something that makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable. This talk is about open heart inquiry. And in this form of inquiry, one of the quick checks that you can easily do is check to see, is my heart feeling expansive in this moment? Am I feeling more connected? Am I feeling more open to everything? Is the rapport that I have with the folks in this room growing? Or am I closing down? Am I feeling the need to protect myself? Am I showing up, as they ask in A Course in Miracles, seeking love? Or am I showing up as an expression of love? Michael Beckwith has that thing that he talks about the 4 phases. He calls it spiritual development. But I don't really like thinking of it as much of a hierarchy as thinking these are things that are in all of us. And there's 4. The 1 is the victim, 2 is the creator, 3 is the artist, 4 is the Bodhi. So the victim, that's when we feel like life is happening to us, that we are at the effect and the cause is happening. And when we are there, our heart is almost completely shut down, because more than anything, we need the feeling that we need to protect ourselves. He says, phase 2 is the creator, that life doesn't happen to me, it happens by me. That's where we're accepting the responsibility for the things that are going on in our lives and accepting responsibility for the things that we produce and the results that we are able to deliver. Phase 3 is the artist. And the artist, their motto is, the victim is life happens to me. The creator is life happens by me. The artist is life flows through me. And that to me is like the open-hearted space. If you think of a moment, if you've been in flow, doing art, doing lawn work, doing something that you love, even driving or creating or dancing, anything can be an activity of flow where it just feels like time is standing still. I had this talk with my daughter this weekend. It was raining, but we had still built a fire. We're sitting under the tarp and we're kind of huddled together under a blanket. And we're just talking like friends and stuff. And we were out there for about 2.5 hours. And both of us felt like when we went back in, it was like 40, 45 minutes. And we're like, holy cow, it's like 11:30. And time stood still in that moment. And the 4th level is showing up as love. That's when we are totally and completely embodying the idea that we are divinity having a human experience. So if you're willing to do this, what I'd like to do is just take you through an inquiry process. So I'm going to ask you to think of an emotion. Better to do it actually with one that gets you feeling a little protective, withdraw, kind of what we might perceive to be a negative emotion. But I'm going to suggest to you, if you do this work for a very short period of time, less than a month, you're very quickly going to notice that truly none of our emotions are negative. They're not inherently good nor bad. They are information. They are awareness, consciousness talking to us, say, pay attention to this. So with that, I will take you through the process. This is designed to feel really good. It's called the bliss technique, and it's an inquiry process of somatic sensing. So in a moment when you think of that emotion, and I'll lead you through, and I'll say, just think of that emotion now, I want you to think about it. How am I experiencing this in my body? Resist the urge just for this exercise to try to analyze it. We do that all day, every day. We're very good at rationalizing, justifying, analyzing. Our critical thoughts muscle is very, very well tuned. But in this exercise, we actually want to notice, where is it feeling? What are the qualities of it? Is it opaque? Does it have a sense? Does it seem solid, or is it amorphous? And then I'm going to ask you to interact with that energy. Think of it as an entity trying to get your attention. So if you're thinking of something that's creating a little anxiety, you might say, anxiety, why are you here? What is the purpose that you are showing up in me right now? And when you ask that question, don't ask it looking for an answer. Try to embody if you ever dropped a penny into a wishing well when you were a little kid. You drop that penny down, the wishing wells often, that penny's got to drop 60 feet, 90 feet. And so you drop it and you listen and you wait and you hear the plop and then the echo comes back up again. Have that same intention as you're doing this. If you prefer to do it with a pleasant memory the first time around, by all means, you can do that too. And one of the things that I'm going to be releasing when we get our thing launched is a Fall into Mindfulness program that will have some of this in there. Okay, so I'm going to turn some more music back on. And this will just be kind of nice and meditative. These are binaural beats. So you can just kind of let that flow into the background. Oops, turn it off. Okay, so just take a couple of nice, deep, cleansing breaths and bring yourself into a center. And as I start doing these, I like to think of 4 breaths, one where I'm getting centered. And when I think of centered, I think getting in touch with my inner divinity and acknowledging that I am in touch with that. I want to see that I'm grounded, meaning I'm not so airy-fairy up in just my imagination. I'm firmly feeling myself seated here. I'm aligned, centered, grounded, and just allow yourself to breathe. And this journey that we're about to experience is a pathway to clarity, to peace and freedom that flows from the understanding that the nature of what we have been conditioned to believe as pain and stress is really wisdom whispering to us, guiding us. Whether these ideas are figments from the past, reverberating in the present, or imaginations about the future, they come here to teach and share. This exercise is not about problem solving. Before that, before there are any problems to solve. It's about unlocking that part of us that is intrinsically connected to wisdom, to freedom, and to clarity. It's about using what we currently label as stress as catalysts for expansion and exploration, allowing us to blossom into who we truly are, helping to live a life unencumbered. Breathe and feel yourself getting centered. Check in with your heart space right now. And just notice the level of tranquility that you're experiencing without having to judge anything. There's no right or wrong way to do this exercise. So as I suggested, I'm encouraging you to select an emotion that might be a tad uncomfortable. And if you're going to accept that invitation, ask yourself right now, am I willing to experience this? And of course, being here present with your eyes closed, breathing with us implies that you are, but actually check in, ask the question, listen to that subtle part of you to see if you are harboring any hesitation. And if you are, we're not looking to override those feelings. Invite them in. They're part of this process as well. In fact, check in with yourself now and see if you're willing to invite all emotions in more fully, or at least a little bit more deeply on some level. And remember, we wield the power to increase or decrease the intensity of this experience. And we don't want to have something that might trigger a fight or flight response, but we also don't want it to be so muted that we're really not getting the juice from it. We want to explore and get something that we can kind of sink our teeth into. So as we settle into this moment, I'll guide you through a series of steps. So now just begin by asking yourself that question again. Am I willing to explore a painful or difficult experience from my past, my present, or my future? And I'm going to give you about 10 seconds, so just sit with that for a little bit. Just pose the question. So assuming that you got back a yes for that, in a moment I'd like you to call to mind an emotion around which you'd like to cultivate some more freedom and see what it has to teach you. And recall that you can make the intensity of this experience become bigger and brighter, or you can send it off into the distance and make it a little bit dimmer, just like you have a control switch in those lights that you can make brighter or more dim. So to begin with, just acknowledge the desire to return to the experience that you're calling to mind now. Invite the relationship to foster this part of yourself that is arising in you now, and just be with it. Say, I see you. I hear you. And even if it's a little bit uncomfortable, to the best of your ability, say to yourself, you're welcome here. I'm here to interact. And allow that sense to come into your body, that sense of that emotion around which you'd like to cultivate a little bit more freedom. Invite that into your body right now. Invite that into awareness. into presence and just begin to notice it. Allow that feeling to simply be whatever it is, without the need to fix it, without the need for it to be a problem that has to be solved. Consider this emotion that's arising in you right now. May be a part of you that you long ago rejected or judged harshly or considered to be wrong. And the healing could be as simple as welcoming that part of you back again. And as you sit with this feeling, endeavor to let it in even more. Picture yourself experiencing the world through the eyes of this feeling. Give that feeling a name. See if you can embody it. Understand, why is it here? Is this presence here to deliver me a message? If it was a being, what would its message for me be? And notice how the sensation of this experience is showing up in your body. Where is it within you? Is it in your chest or your shoulders, your gut, your head? Is it surrounding you outside of your physical body? Is it solid or sharp? Or can you kind of see through it? Is it changing? Does it have a color? Just begin to notice the experience of that sensation without the need to judge why it's here, without the need to assign meaning to it. See awareness as this vast container holding all of our experiences without judgment. And feel this infinite non-judgmental space of awareness that can be expressed as love or clarity or freedom. Envision this awareness as the infinite ocean, with that feeling that we're experiencing right now is but a unique wave of expression. And as you consider that wave, understand that a wave arises, is composed of, and will return to the ocean of consciousness from which all things arise. Notice that this feeling is arising in you. This sensation is made of you. And now for a moment, please consider that this emotion is arising for you. As a teacher here on Earth School, imagine this as a part of us, reaching out for attention, perhaps longing to be welcomed back. Each moment of tension or resistance reveals where in life we're still holding on, where we're still clinging. And it's an opportunity to relax back into the innate expression of freedom that is our true essence. Notice the stillness and peace that we are co-creating in this space. Now lean a little bit more into that expansive space and allow any remaining tension to build back into that ocean of awareness back into the universe itself. Call it before you, and let's interact with it now. Ask the question, what is it that you would like me to know? What is it that you would like me to see? For what reason are you arising in me right now? And like that penny into a wishing well, just sit with that for the next 15 seconds or so. So now, assuming that you got a message, and that message could be simply a nice warm feeling in your heart space, or it may have been an insight or an aha moment. However it showed up for you in this moment is the right way that your unconscious mind, pure consciousness, wanted this experience to unfold for you today. So to the degree that you got an insight, or to the degree that you've got a good warm feeling, or there's been a transformation of any sort, just breathe into the energy of that insight, into the energy of that aha moment. And open your heart to the wisdom that pure consciousness has shared with you. And if this particular experience was nothing more than a calming experience, or if you found your mind wondering, am I doing it right? Is this what I'm supposed to see? Is this big enough? Just give yourself permission to let all of that go. For the magic of the inquiry is when we get quiet enough in our gut to listen to the wisdom that whispers from our gut. Our gut is guiding us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Einstein talked about it. He called our gut mind our intuitive mind. And he called what we call our mind the rational mind, the critical mind. And he said, we live in a society that's got it all backwards. The rational mind is a faithful servant. It'll do anything that we ask it to do. Like an own little algorithm. If we're searching for something, it'll keep looking. So if we're asking it to search for what's wrong, what's missing, what's broken, it's going to look for that. But if we ask it to look instead, what is the whispers of wisdom that I'm receiving from my body right now? Very quickly we'll train it to listen to that too. Serenity in our gut. Check in with your heart space. Is it tranquil? Does it feel expansive? Or does it feel contracted? And after all of this time spending moments in your body, how is your mind right now? Is your inner critic quiet and relaxed? Or is he chattering incessantly? And again, no right or wrong answer. That's just what's happening right now. And so when you're ready, 3 nice, deep, energizing breaths and come on back to the room. Let's talk a little bit about what your experience was with that. We'll talk for just about 10 minutes or so and kind of close out the circle. If you want to, you can hang out and chat here for a little while. Todd's going to be here soon, setting up the bowls. We've got our potluck dinner a little bit later tonight. Then our healing sound bath. So who would like to share what was that experience like for you? Any cool insights? Anything show up in a kind and wonderful way? Tap you on the shoulder.
Yeah, it's happening for sure. By going to the emotion with, so in this last month, I've been dealing with a lot of endings, a lot of closures, because 3 people very close to me passed on in 10 days, right? It was like, okay, this is a lot to handle. But anyway, so we just had the celebration of life for my ex last, what is today? Friday night. Anyway, so it really brought up a lot of very interesting emotions of closures and about things that completely, like you wanted some of it back, but he's my ex. So there was obviously a reason that he's my ex. But it brought me to the now, and everything's bringing me to the here and now. And really working not at living in what has been, but what is. And so the feelings of sadness are still there, and they're definitely in my heart. And because there's a permanency in my belief system that there's no more physical togetherness, no more physical touch, no more physical calling somebody on the phone, going, hey, how you doing, that type of thing. So I'm working with that feeling of just simply being aware of it and knowing it. And obviously I have the feeling of a little bit of loss because it meant something to me. When it means something to you, you have a feeling of there's something missing here. So I'm working with that space that's missing right now. So for me, that's what.
And so how was the experience of kind of being with the emotion?
Yeah, and I have been sitting with that emotion. And luckily for me, the emotions pass through me fast because I'm pretty, quick with everything. But yeah, it was, and I found out where it was in my body. It's in my heart, for sure, in the heart space. And it was just an acknowledgement of what was and what is and what I'm not too worried about what will be. It was beautiful. Yeah, it was a good experience.
And that's a very common thing that people say, that exploring these things, exactly what you said, it brings me back to the here and now. And there's a lot of people have been credited with this saying. I don't know who said it the very first time. I think Carl Jung is one of the people who is credited with saying it, that we're never mad at the moment in front of us. We're never mad or angry about what is happening right now. We're mad or angry or upset or depressed about our thinking about what's happening. It's the meaning that we assign to it. So that's like we experience the sadness and acknowledge the sadness and see, why am I sad? Because we shared something, and what we shared was beautiful, and it's over now, it's past. And our emotions, neurobiologists, neuroscientists tell us, our emotions are only supposed to last about 10 or 15 seconds. They're supposed to come in, give us a little dump, get some neurotransmitters, and boom, they're off and gone. But when some of these emotions stick with us and, we're feeling anything over a period of time, man, that is an invitation that I hope you guys will accept in the future, to just sit with that and see what comes up. Anybody else like to share, Megan?
Adrian.
Adrian, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
That's okay.
Beg
You
your
look
pardon.
like Nate. She did look like Nate. So just in the last few days, I've been like, shame has come up a lot, and then around a fear of failure. So like not starting or like inaction. And so I just couldn't quite land on like what it is, but I definitely felt it like in my solar plexus, just like a solid, just like a, just in there. And when I asked it what it wanted, it just wanted to be safe. It wanted to feel safe. And it was a little, like I could imagine, like a little smaller version of me, and she just wanted to be safe. And I was like, kind of dialoguing back and forth, like, well, what if we were safe? What if I helped you to feel safe? And she was like, yeah, okay. And then just like that was it. And then another like older version came into like a maybe like teens. Same thing of like starting something and not finishing or not doing it right, and kind of the same thing of just like, well, the safety's here. Safety's not external. Like even bad things you think are happening to you externally, they're really everything is internal. So same thing, just offered it safety or offered her safety, and it definitely dissolved it once I came out of the meditation or came out of the visualization. It was like, oh, okay. That's all it wanted, just to be acknowledged and accepted.
Yeah, and I love that you came back with what if?
Mm-hmm.
What if together we could be safe?
Mm-hmm.
That that little the little inner child, it's okay. Thank you for showing up and keeping me centered and grounded and getting my attention. Thank you for sharing this.
I see you. We're safe.
Anybody else like to share? Okay, so we're at 4:10 anyway. This is probably a good place. I know it went so fast, didn't it? We can kind of just gather together and close out the circle.